Hi everybody, welcome to Diabolical Garage. Today's installment is the JK locker. This is for the 11 to 18 JK two-door. This allows you to leave the rear seat in and still have a lockable storage compartment that fits behind the seat. So these are all the parts and the tools that go with the installation. Really, the tools are a 10mm socket, a 7/16 socket, and wrench. And then you'll also need your Torx bit for your floor D-rings, okay? That's really all there is for the installation. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of jump into this. This is the tail skin, which fits into the groove of your tailgate as the tailgate closes. It's another security feature. It goes upside down when it attaches to the folding top. So in the normal position, this will sit down and then flat. So we're gonna flip it over. And before we put the carriage bolts in, on the edge, which is the rounded edge, the little radius, we're gonna take our edge seal and we're gonna stick this on. You can cut it to fit. It's usually a little bit longer. So that way you can get the fit that you want from left to right. So I'm just gonna slide this down and on. What's nice is you can build this entire system on a table and then install it into your vehicle. Hardtop doesn't have to come off, soft top doesn't have to come off. So we're gonna put a carriage bolt in and into the center section, and I'm gonna walk through doing every bolt and nut for you. So you see how long that it actually takes in each step as we go through this. So this is the 1/4-inch carriage bolts. These are all stainless steel bolts that are black oxided, means they're stained black so they kind of match up with the system. Now, can they discolor from prolonged UV? Yes. But they are stainless, so they won't rust. So we're going to spin that guy on. These are nylock nuts. They don't have to be torqued. They just need to be tight. So hand tight is what's going to make this work. And this is also a slotted hole in the back of the folding top, so that way you can adjust it to fit better inside your tailgate groove. So now I'm going to take the 7/16, hold the bolt, and I'm going to tighten them up. Go pretty snug with the first two so you get a nice, easy fitment with it, then tighten them all up. It starts pulling up. I want to pull it, or I want to push it this all the way down so it's nice and flat across here. Come over to this side, push in. Tighten them all up snug. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the wall pound. So the wall is going to sit like this. On the front side, this is where your seat goes. These are for your floor D-ring bolts. We actually developed a 2-piece bracket that locks itself into place, so somebody can't gain access to that once it's put into place, and they can't take it apart to try and get in that way. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just spin this around right now, just because it's easier to see from here, and you can see where my hinge holes, these guys, match up here. So just real quick, I'm going to set these in place. So the hinges will go where the hinge is in the middle, right there. This is the 10 millimeter socket for the metric 8 nuts and washers. So I'm going to spin them on until it gets a little bit snug, and I know it's not cross-threaded. This is easier to show this without the wall in place, the side walls. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That's snug. I'll grab my other one. Set it in place. Like I said, these don't have to be super tight torqued down, because you could snap the post with that. A nylock nut is its own lock itself. So this is the 10 millimeter socket. Switched on me. Snug them up, and I'm going to leave those just like that for now. Now I'm going to move over to our sidewall. So there's a left and a right. They look very similar. 3 bolt studs already pressed into place. Something that I've done already is real simple. You'll have peel and stick 3M foam. So what you want to do is just this flat flange right here. This is where the top sits on. This one we've put together and taken apart a few times for test fitting to get the system complete to where it is now. So this is the peel and stick 3M foam there. And then on the back side, from the end, we've taken the magnet that we supply you that's 1 inch by 3 inch, and we cut it in half and we peel it and stick it to the underneath side of the flat flange, because this is where the cam lever will go, and this is its backing plate or strike plate. So with that already in place, what we'll do is we want to put on the walls. So this is the passenger side. These 3 studs will go through the outer holes there, and these are the 1/4 inch carriage bolts. Same size, so it's the same 1/4 inch nut and washer that is the 7/16 socket to tighten them up. So we'll put all 3 of those on. And you can tighten them all the way up. So there's nothing stopping us from keeping this loose at this point. So we're going to tighten it all up. So I'm just going to move this to this table for right now so I can spin this and you can watch the other wall going together. Same thing, 1/4 20 nut. And I'm going to tighten all these up right now too. So one thing, if you haven't noticed by now, is this is a pretty stout structure. This isn't flimsy metal that just folds into place, got piano hinges on it, just a piece of metal sits behind the roll bar to hold it in place, anything like that. This is a full solid steel structure. We always go that extra step. So one of the things that's another function of this from an installation, from security, is this is a 12 gauge steel bump stop. You're not pushing this out of the way. So this actually goes in the side hole in the wall, because when this is in place, this goes up against the back of your roll bar plastic. So this is what's going to keep somebody from pushing the entire system forward to gain access to it, which is if you don't have a full structure like this, that is possible with other type of systems that are out there. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this all the way up. Keep it about 90% tight so you can still spin it for getting it into place once you set the whole system in, so you can adjust this to be nice and flat against your plastic on the roll bar. So we're going to do this on both sides. I'll open this up so you can see the other side. You'll see that goes through just like that. Put your nut and washer on. You can still use your socket if you pull the bracket out towards you, so you can still get the socket on it. Or if you got an extension, that helps too. Like I said, we want to go about 90% tight, so that way it's still in place, pretty snug, and then it's just a final adjustment, and tightening it up with a wrench from the inside keeps anybody from breaking in and moving this entire structure. Okay? So now I'm going to actually flip it over, and I'm going to show you the floor bracket. This you're going to want to install when you get set this into place. So in the center of your floor is the D-rings that are in the plastic floor in the 11 to 18. You want to pull those D-rings out. This bracket right here sits down in that plastic floor well where the D-ring bolt goes in. So what you want to do is pull the D-ring bolt out, set this down in place, and you'll see that there's a left and a right with this tab that goes around the shape of the plastic in the floor. So when you have this down in and it fits, it's going to actually sit here on the bottom front edge of your wall. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put the D-ring bolt in, go all the way tight so this is standing nice and tight and strong vertically. You're never going to have to loosen that. And this is the part that's pretty cool about our design. So to keep somebody from just unscrewing that and trying to move the wall, we have a second piece. So once you put your D-ring bolt in and tight all the way down, you're going to stand your wall up against it, just like that. And you're going to put before you put the bolt through here, the carriage bolt through, we're going to put the secondary lock system for the bracket in. That goes in through the slot just like that. This keeps somebody from getting down access to the bolt head and pulling that out, because that is a Torx bit head and they need to go straight down into it. So that is going to sit on the wall nice and flat just like that. And this is where you take a carriage bolt and you go through both of them, then through the wall, and put a nut and washer on the backside, and that's going to hold your wall completely in place from the front to keep anybody from getting access to it at all. So this you'll do once you get the system into place in the Jeep itself. So now, let's see, I'm trying to think what's the easiest way to show this. So now we're going to put the folding top on. So with this standing just like this, you've got both of your bump stops in. This is standing up. We're going to grab the wall, or the folding top, and we're going to set it in place. Now the wall might be a little bit wider at this point. It's okay because there's nothing holding it in place, but it will be nice and tight just like that. So now what we want to do is we want to put the hinge together just like this, and you can actually pull this in tight, and we're going to take the same 8mm nut and washer that we did when we put it on first, and we're going to come under here and we're going to put those on. I'll flip this up in just a second after I get one in on both sides. So I want to get that nice and tight. I want to push the top and the wall together so it's less gap right here. I'm going to grab my 10mm socket. I'm going to come over and I'm going to put one on the other side too. So I'm just going to reach in here. Make sure you don't cross thread it. Make sure you get a couple of good turns on it before it tightens up on you. Relatively snug. And do the same thing over here. Because now that I've got that, I'm going to lift it up so you can see it as I do the other nut and washer on the hinge. Just like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tighten this up. So they're both nice and snug. Come over to this side. I'll do the same thing. And you'll notice this sits on the foam, the peel and stick foam that you put on the flat flange. So this is almost complete. Now we just need to put the locks in for this. So the locks, we're going to take, I'm trying to think what's the easiest way to show you this. So we're going to move this flat. Spin it around so we can show you from here. So this is your cam lever. This is your lock assembly. I'm going to take the screwdriver and I'm going to take the cam lever off. Be careful, there's an O-ring seal right here. Don't lose that. Pull the cylinder out. And what you want to do with the rubber washer that's on your cylinder is pop this into place. If you have to pop it with a hammer, it's okay. You're not going to hurt the threads. We're going to do this on this side first. We'll show you. So remember, you've got your magnet on the back side. That's for your cam lever. So now we're going to set the... Oh, yep. My cameraman pointing out. Lock nut goes on the back. This is easier to do than when the cam lever's on, so you don't have to pull it back off. Just get this set on. Makes it easier if you go around to where you can actually feel it. And spin it down. Hand tight. If you want to tighten it up with the wrench, go ahead. Not too tight, because that does affect the lock by pinching it. So now take the barrel of your lock. I always put a key in it. Just makes it easier. Cam lever. And you want to hold it up just like this. Spin this around so you can see. So the cam lever will go in. And I always try and orient the key straight up and down, that it's locked. Flat is unlocked. So if that is going to be my lock position, by holding the key and holding this in so it doesn't pop out, I'm going to put the rubber seal in, the O-ring, and then I'm going to put my cam lever on just like that. I'm going to hold it with my thumb. This is the lock position. So now I'm going to put the screw in. I'm going to snug that down. So, lock position, keys straight up and down. Unlock, keys straight across. That just gives you a visual cue on how if you've got the system locked or not. Locked, unlocked. And if you want to do it the other way around that best fits how you want to remember it, go ahead. There's nothing keeping you from doing any of that. So now we're going to put the other side in, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to take the cam lever off with the screw. Take off the cam itself. I'll put all the pieces here so you see them. The O-ring, because that's going to pop out. And the lock nut. And then I'm going to pull the cylinder out. The cylinder will pull out without the cam lever and the lock nut on. So I'm going to push this into place. So it's nice and flat. I'm going to take the key. Again, I'm going to put it straight in. Have it drop into place. Key straight up and down as the lock is going to be engaged. I'm going to take my lock nut and spin this on. It's harder to do when it's straight up and down instead of flat, but it's doable. Just takes a little bit of practice. There we go. Spin that nice and tight with your hand. So my key's straight up and down. I'm going to put the O-ring back in. Need this in there, okay? And then the cam lever is going to go in the lock position, and I'm going to hold it with my thumb. So I've got my finger on the key, holding it, pressing it in, so the cylinder doesn't move. And then I'm going to put in the lock screw into the cam. If I can get it to go in straight. Wants to fight you when it's straight up and down. So now it's tight, unlocked, locked, unlocked, locked. And that's it right there. So the next thing that I'm going to show you, with the keys in the lock position, and this is if you want to put them on now, you can. If you don't, it's okay. These are the rear floor brackets. So these are what attach to the wall and then go down into the wheel or the well at the tailgate for the 2 D-ring bolts in the corners. So if this is going to go on the corner, this will be your driver's side. This will be your passenger side. And this is also going to be just the 1/4 inch nut and washer. If you want, you can put these in, leave them loose, or tighten them up to where they hold right here. Set the system in place, loosen it, spin it down, and put your D-ring bolt back in. Now this holds all 4 corners when you're installed. So the next video that we do will actually be showing this being installed as an assembly into your Jeep JK. And then final tighten everything up, and we'll go from there. So once again, thanks for watching. Any questions, get a hold of us online. We're happy to answer any questions at any time.